Hey, everybody, welcome to episode number 123 of the Debt Free Dad podcast. So we get this question a lot. And of course, being that we are called Debt Free Dad, Brad, I want to get out of debt fast. How can I reach debt freedom the fastest way possible? I think this is an awesome question, and there's a lot that goes into answering this question. There isn't typically just a straight answer on how to do it. It really kind of depends on you and what you're willing to do. And we're going to be talking all about it on today's show. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Debt Free Dad podcast, where we're helping normal, everyday people learn how to save money and kick debt so they can live a happier and stress-free life. Now here's your host, Debt Free Dad, Brad Nelson.
Hey, how is everyone doing today? You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram, and also now TikTok. Just search Brad Nelson and Debt Free Dad. And welcome to today's show. Remember to get all the resources, show notes, and links for today's show. Head over to balancesense.com/123. That's BALANCEDCENTS.com/123. And we were just kind of chatting before we jumped on today's podcast. It's been like a month. And I know for you guys are like, no, you guys were just here last week, right? Well, that's not quite the way that we record these shows. We usually bulk record them. So, when we get together, we try to do at least 2 episodes. And because of the Easter holiday and vacation, Ryan was traveling. It's been like a month. And so we're hoping that we're not a little rusty today. But funny story for you guys, completely not financially related, but I just have to share this story. So it's finally getting warmer here. Well, some days it's still like winter here in Wisconsin. But about a week ago, 2 weeks ago now, I was out in my shed changing my snowblower. If you guys remember, I talked about I got this really awesome riding lawnmower with this huge snowblower attachment on the front of it. So I thought I was going to be like ready to fight snow. Well, we ended up our biggest snowstorm this past year. It was 4 inches of snow. So I've got this giant snowblower out there, snow blowing 4 inches of snow. I was like, I don't care. I was like, I'm getting use out of it. Anyways, I bought that tractor used for an awesome price. So anyways, it's getting nice, so I decided to take the snowblower attachment off of it, and I was going to put the grass cutting deck back on it. So I'm in my shed, my daughter's out there with me, and all of a sudden I turn around, and Avery is standing in the doorway, and she is, this is so funny, she's petting something in her hand. And I'm like, what do you have? And as I got closer, I could clearly see this was a bird in her hand. So I'm like, get that out of your hand. I was like, what is that? I open up her hand. She has blood all over her hands, and the bird is on the floor. But it reminded me of Dumb and Dumber, right? Where they sell the bird to the blind kid, right? And he's like, pretty bird, right? And she's like petting it like that. And I'm like, what in the heck? Where did you get this bird from? Well, sure enough, my dog had chased and caught the bird. And sure enough, she decided to pick it up and play with it. So, I was like,
she's gonna save it. She's gonna save it.
Yeah, it's her pet. So I go in, I call her mom. I'm like, Sarah, come here. I was like, your daughter was just playing with a dead bird. Look at her hand. She's like, oh my God, what happened? I've been meaning to share this story on this podcast, and it's one of those stories I'll never forget with her. It's so funny. She just thought it was like nothing, like, oh, this is my new stuffed animal or whatever it might be. But anyways, today, guys, we are talking all about this whole idea and this question that we get often about, what's the fastest way or what's the quickest way to pay down debt? And I love this question because for me, it means that people are at least, considering that I want to go on this journey. I need to pay off some debt, and I'm looking for the fastest ways possible. And I think for a lot of people, this is going to be a different answer. And I think, there's not any clear, this is it, right? I mean, for some people, some things are going to work, and for others, other things are going to work. But from experience, and we'll share a little bit, Ryan will share, Amber's going to share, and I'm going to share, but in our experience with our Roots members, we've seen, I think the shortest period of time I've seen our Roots members do it We have one member who did it in as little as 8 months, completely debt-free. We've had Sammy on the show before. Saved and paid off over $30,000 in 8 months, becoming completely debt-free, which is pretty close to what my wife did. She paid off $33,000 in 11 months, becoming completely debt-free. But we've had some that have taken well over 4 years, and some even going on 5 or 6 years. So it just kind of depends. Now, it took me about 4 or 5 years to get completely out of debt. Now, I did it on my own. I, of course, did some self-help books and programs and things to try to help me along. But for the most part, like, I did this all by myself. And it took me about 4 or 5 years. I say 4 or 5 because I got a divorce in the middle of my journey. So I had to take almost like an entire year off. And that's why it's kind of like that 4 or 5 year mark. But Amber, can you share how long it took you?
It took us 20 months to get out of debt. And yeah.
Okay. And she obviously did it with Roots.
I did. And you know what? I feel like had we tried it without, we probably would have just given up. Like, I can't even say we would have done it in 5 years. I think we would just given up.
You wouldn't even be on this podcast.
No, we would not be here. I would not be here.
I can. Now, Ryan, you too did it on your own. Like, can you share how long it took you guys?
Yeah. So for us, I mean, it was, somewhere in that 7 to 8 year mark. And again, I think, we did it on our own. I mean, it was one of those things that I think, just debt in general is one of those things where there's a lot of shame involved, a lot of just, so we just didn't surround ourselves with people, right? We kind of buried it all and kept it to ourselves. And I think that really just prolonged it probably by double of what it probably could have been. It was there was a lot of like making some progress and taking 3 steps back along the way when we were trying by ourselves. I think when you're around right-minded people, just that motivation and that accountability is just much stronger. It keeps you on focus a lot more than it does.
Yeah. Well, and I think, there's a lot of people out there. I mean, we've had people start or just kind of stumble across our podcast or they were searching for ways on how to get out of debt. And I think, when you look for an idea of, I want to get out of debt, most people don't think, hey, I'm going to join a support and accountability group to do that, right? It's just not something that's common, or I would say, let's say, just a common product or something that people would look for. But, what do? We go on Google or we go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we start looking and typing in some different things like, how can I get out of debt? So for you to say, like, we didn't really surround ourselves with the right people, I think there's a lot of people who don't do that because they don't really probably know that there are resources and things out there that actually do help people go through the process of eliminating debt and getting themselves to a much better place financially. But how fast, to answer the question, is how fast, it really is going to depend on your situation. Like, for instance, like, how much income do you have? Are you really tight on your budget? Are you really living paycheck to paycheck? Like, you're pinching every single penny? Versus, are you someone who you do have some discretionary income, you're just using it maybe in a not such a great manner. Maybe it's just poor spending habits, right? So maybe just by improving some habits and making some different choices, that would free up some cash, right? To be able to work the process that we talk here, the Debt Freedom Success Path that we talk here a lot about on the show. But, looking at your current cash flow plan, that's going to be a different answer. Like, for someone who's really tight, living paycheck to paycheck versus someone who's got some flexibility and some wiggle room, those are going to get 2 different results, right? It's also going to depend on how many payments that you've got, right? So again, for someone who is really weighed down heavily with maybe credit cards, payday loans, student loans, and again, it may not be all of these, maybe it's a mix of some of them, heavy car payments, things like that, maybe even a mortgage that you really couldn't afford. You might be maybe in a house poor situation, again, all of these things are going to determine the speed and how fast you can begin to make progress. That does not mean by the many means, if you're in one of these situations where money is tight, that you can't make progress. It's just that I think you have to set realistic expectations of how fast this is really going to go. What would you guys say as far as your expectations going into this? I mean, you guys have gone through this, especially from the start. How did you feel you guys expected this to go versus how it actually went?
When we were starting and I was like planning it all out, we were doing this in 11 months. Like, it was happening. And then life happened.
Right. Exactly.
It took an extra 9, but I was definitely expecting to do it a lot faster than we did.
Yeah. But 11 months to 9, that's not too bad. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I would say similar to Amber. I mean, I think we thought it was going to be easier. Not easy, but not, when we first went into it, it was just about paying off debt. It wasn't like the whole psychology around it all. So that's our part. Weren't really prepared for. That's what we were really fighting against, is not so much like the money side of it. It was more the psychology side of just why we're in debt to begin with and why we're spending money and why we're doing all the wrong things. So, I mean, for us, I think we went into it thinking it was going to be easier, but the result was, it takes a lot longer, especially if you just, again, don't have that support and people to like bounce ideas off of.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I think, the whole behavior and habits side of things is the part that takes the longest to fix. The mindset, if it was just as easy as saving money and paying down debt, this podcast wouldn't be here, right? Because it would just be that. Right. You just save money and pay down debt. Like it's really that simple. It's not that simple, unfortunately, right? And so, yeah, for a lot of us, I think we deal with the habits and behaviors the longest.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd say just on the income side is I think this is one area where, as I've talked to different people, I think sometimes we want to believe that, well, it took this person this long, they must have had a great income. And I think the reality is we've seen success people making small incomes and big incomes. And I'll say that a lot of times, if you look at someone with a smaller income versus someone with a bigger income, the amount of debt sometimes is equal to what people are making. So someone with a large income, yeah, maybe they've got a bigger shovel, but they might have a lot bigger pile of debt to take care of, as opposed to someone who has that smaller. So don't kind of put it as, well, I only make X, so I probably wouldn't have as much success. That's not necessarily true. Again,
right.
What's your situation? You could have the same percentage of debt as someone who's making a good income.
Right. And we do find that, like, it's not uncommon for people who come in with higher incomes that have just a bigger amount of debt. If you look at the ratio and the percentage of their, it's very similar in a lot of cases. And that kind of goes on to the next point I want to make is, the intensity that you go at this is going to depend on how fast this goes as well. Like, how bad do you really want to do this? Like, for instance, a lot of people get really motivated in a moment of crisis, right? And that's typically, and we've talked about this on the show plenty of times before, that's typically when a lot of people will start asking us and me for help is, Brad, I've got this situation going on. I've been listening to your podcast and, I've delayed and I haven't gotten started, but now all of a sudden this thing is sitting in my lap and I'm not sure what to do. Like, how do I go about this? What are the best steps, right? And so that motivation has prompted them to get started, right? But here's the thing, motivation doesn't last. So what motivates you today is likely not going to motivate you a month from now, because that emotion, that feeling, those things are going to fizzle out and go away. And that's essentially why a lot of people quit. But the way that you can eliminate that or hopefully prevent that from happening is by finding more of a deep-rooted purpose that's going to increase your intensity level of going at this. So again, what are the meaning or the reasons behind you want to get out of debt? If you can really spend some time on answering that question and just saying, rather than just kind of using the easy answers of, oh, I just want to get out of debt, or, oh, I just want to have a little bit of extra money, or it would just be nice not to stress as much. Like, those are okay answers. But if you really spend some time and really thought about some of the things that you could do if you had less debt by establishing short-term and long-term goals that you actually believe in, that is going to increase the intensity level on how much you're willing to go at this and what you're willing to put in at it. If you actually believe in the reasons why you're going to put the work in, you're obviously going to go at it a lot faster and a lot more intense. If you're just going to kind of, quote unquote, like half-ass the answers and the reasons behind it, you're probably not going to get nearly as good as results. Now, Amber, you openly have admitted, like, you have had a challenge with the whole, finding a reason, a why that you can connect with. But being that you are where you are today, you now can see the importance. Like, would you have ever imagined that you guys would be living the life and doing the things that you're doing, investing the way that you're investing? You bought a house. I mean, doing the stuff that you've done by putting in the work that you did back in, 2016 through 2017 when you guys got out of debt.
No. I mean, I never believed it would happen. And as far as like, I can make goals. And maybe that's my thing. I don't make a why or purpose. I feel it's very spiritual and it's just not me.
Yeah.
But like I could set goals and I see the end goal. And when I get there, then I have to set something new or else I'm just going to fall off the wagon. And so this never stops. This whole like, why am I doing this? Why am I continuing to do this? It never stops. So for us, it's just continuously setting goals. And that's how we've made it happen. And that's how we continue to live the life that we're living.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, personal finance is like this infinite game, right? You don't ever arrive at a moment where you're just kind of done, unless you're like someone who's a billionaire or a multi-millionaire. Maybe they have that luxury, but here where normal people live, right? We don't have that luxury because the moment you stop setting the goals or you stop having a reason on why taking control of your finances, working on your finances, being intentional with your finances matters, you slip back to bad habits, bad spending, lose focus, and before you know it, things start slipping and going in the wrong direction again.
You don't even see it happening.
No.
It just slowly happens. We've caught ourselves. We're like, whoa, get back in check.
Yeah, you get lazy. It's like that diet.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get really great at healthy eating and exercising, and like, oh, I'm gonna really do good, and then like a few months into it, all of a sudden, you're having that donut in the morning, right? And,
Right.
oh, I'm gonna have just a couple of cookies, right?
Well, I mean, I've got a story to share with this real quick, and I mean, I think it hits home. We talk about it. It's easy to be motivated in a moment of crisis. Probably 6, maybe 7 weeks ago, I had some tests come back for the doctor. They were not terrible, but they were like, oh, something's going on here. So guess what I've been doing the last 7 weeks? Eating healthy, like doing the right things.
Yep.
I've been doing all the right things because it's like, hey, we got to check some things out. Well, they sent me to a specialist. I went to the specialist today. It was my appointment. Guess what? Everything's great.
So
guess what I wanted right after the specialist. I didn't like. So I think that's like, it's like 100% like my moment of crisis was over after that appointment. And so it's like my why, if I really want to be healthy and keep losing weight and exercise and do all those things, my moment of, it has to be bigger than my moment of crisis, because right after that, that appointment was over and I was like, texted my wife, hey, I'm going to Chick-fil-A. You want anything? Because it's like, in the appointment, the doctor's like, well, just, try not to eat fried foods. I like got hash browns and a fried chicken sandwich. It's like, so, but it's just like a reminder as we're talking through this. It's like, it's very similar. Like we operate in these moments of crisis and then we want to get out of debt. Oh my God, the world's falling apart. And then something happens that smooths it out. And suddenly we're like, it's not that big of a deal. And we just wait till the next moment of crisis.
Yep. It's that whole misery cycle, right? You have that crisis, you look for the Band-Aid or the quick fix. You all of a sudden start telling yourself, oh, it's okay. It could have been way worse, right? And then you eventually tell yourself you can live like this and you're back to where you were until the next crisis happens. It's just this constant financial circle of crisis that we constantly keep living. And the next point I want to bring up is, how to speed up the process. And the question that you need to ask yourself is, if you want this to go faster, is what are you willing to sacrifice in order to win? I love that question. What are you willing to sacrifice? And we're talking short-term sacrifices, not sacrificing for the rest of your life. What are you willing to sacrifice in order to win? So think about, what things are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up stuff? Are you willing to give up purchases that really don't line up with those short-term and long-term goals that we kind of talked about that you should establish? Are you willing to give up on experiences? Like when I was getting out of debt, I did some things, but like I wasn't taking like huge vacations and doing all sorts of, fun things that way. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still had a life, but it wasn't like it used to be, right? Because I was trying to get out of debt. I made it a point. Maybe it's work. When I was getting out of debt, I put in a lot of extra hours and I was trying to get bonuses at work and trying to make extra income. Obviously, sacrifice your time. Again, we're talking short term, not long-term, but short-term sacrifices. And even today, like Amber had mentioned, you can't drift. Like even today, we still, even being debt-free, make sacrifices. Like we make good incomes, but it's not like we make enough income just to not give a rip about what we're spending our money on and where our money's going. Like we just don't have that luxury in our life, just like most of you all listening to this show. So even today, we're still making sacrifices to, number one, remain debt-free, and number two, reach new financial goals that we have. So for instance, like we've talked about and we shared several episodes ago, that we rented for 8 years to really work on building our businesses because that was a priority for us. We still, to this day, drive older vehicles. My wife drives an '05 Ford Explorer, and I drive an '06 Chevy Silverado. And yet, we're debt-free. And yet, those are just things that we are willing to do, right? I buy a lot of used items. And when I talked about my lawn tractor and the whole story with my daughter and the bird, that was bought used. Like, there's a lot of things that I look for, and I am willing to go used to save money on the front end. So, I think sacrifice needs to be a part of your regular plan. Now, are there things that I'm not willing to sacrifice? Yes, like camping. I'm not willing to sacrifice that. Like, I love camping. I love being with my family. I love hanging out with my friends. Love being outside. Like, camping is just what I love to do. I'm not willing to sacrifice that. So you got to go through your life and figure out, okay, what are the things that we're just spending money on that are useless? What are the things that we want to keep? And let's get rid of the rest and use this money more wisely.
And I think this is where, we talked earlier about the why. This for us, is really where we were able to connect. Like when your why is really solid, then you can really go back to like being good with sacrificing things, because you can see like, okay, we're giving this up to achieve this. And also on the flip side, if you're going to like decide you're like going to be like not a good person and you want to go spend a bunch of money, you also can see like, if we do this, if we make this decision, then this affects things down the road, right? Because we've talked about this before. We would love a new house with today's market and the prices. We've talked about it all the time, but it's like, if we do that, like we know what our why is. And if we do that, which we can 100% do it and afford it, but it affects all the other whys we have coming down the road, that we've said are important.
Avery, you got anything?
Nope.
All right, let's go to commercial real quick and then we'll come back.
Hey, if you love planners, this is for you. But do you know why planners frustrate me? Because they only really get it half right. Now, sure, they're really good and fancy about helping you manage your time, which is really important, obviously. That's what a planner's for. But where they get it wrong is money, the second most valuable resource in our lives. Most planners don't include any financial planning. Things like, keeping track of paydays, bills, due dates, spending, yearly expenses, budgets, cash flow planning, debt elimination plans, and goal planning, right? None of that stuff. That's a real pain. And then what? Then you got to create your own in some silly binder, right? And who has time for all of that stuff? So instead, what happens? Nothing, right? A lot of people tend to ignore their finances even more, and things only get worse. Well, that all ends today because I am so excited to announce and release my brand new, totally awesome Debt Freedom Planner. This thing's awesome, by the way. Now, before you say, Brad, I've already got a planner. This is not an ordinary day planner. This is the Debt Freedom Planner, which is a companion tool that works with your day planner, and it's built to help you manage your money, pay off more debt, and melt away financial stress. And I believe this is the tool that a lot of people who want to take control of their finances have been waiting for. So head on over to therealdebtfreedad.com, click on the Debt Freedom Planner in the menu to get access to your planner today.
Hey guys, we are back. We're talking about fastest ways or how to get out of debt fast and what are some tips to help you do that. This next one is, I know it's going to sound harsh, but it is the reality. You can't listen to your broke friends or family, all right? You just can't do it. And ironically, like a couple episodes ago, we just had this statistic on here about where people are searching out help. Number one area is social media, which is baffling to me. But right below that was, I think it was just under 50%. Under 50% of people to get financial help ask friends and family, all right? Here's the reality behind that. 78% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. That means almost 8 out of 10 people that are hanging on for that next paycheck to pay their bills and to survive, all right? Maybe 2 paychecks out, right? But within a few weeks, if they don't get paid, like things get scary pretty quickly, right? So you got to be really careful about who you're getting advice on how to get out of debt fast from. All right. Because in all likelihood, depending on who you're talking to, you might not be getting the best advice to help you do that. All right. Because here's the reality. Most people aren't getting out of debt fast. Most people aren't really working on getting out of debt at all. Most people are pretty complacent, are just fine being exactly where they're at. And they're going to be happy to share the same advice with you to keep you there because they don't want to feel bad because you're getting out of debt. That makes them look bad, right? We've been through all of this before. But at the same time, you are the average of the people that you do surround yourself with. And it has been proven by studies that this is the reality. So you have to be careful that if you want to get out of debt fast, you have to break away. And we're going to talk about thinking here in just a second, but you got to get away from the same thinking of your friends and your family because a lot of them are stuck in a lot of the same types of situations we're trying to get people out of.
Yeah. I mean, the second you say that just the 4 words of getting out of debt is going to cause people to look at you like you have 3 heads immediately. Mm-hmm. Most people, are going to think you're crazy. It's just the reality. I mean, and you are just not going to gain. I don't want to say people will knock you on purpose. They're going to. It's just so foreign of a concept these days that it's just impossible.
Right.
That it's impossible. You'll always have debt. And that's just everybody's mindset. So you're going to be bombarded with, you'll never do it.
So the next tip is how to really think about changing habits and thinking. So part of what we just said, you've got to change your thinking or you got to stop thinking the way that your friends and family are thinking because that thinking is going to keep you stuck. So you can't get out of debt with the same thinking that got you into debt. But, we see this all the time. It is, it is like, this is my favorite thing about Roots members who are coming in. In fact, I just had a Roots member join. She's been in the program for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, mind you. And she's like, Brad, I can't believe I waited this long to join this. This program is amazing. And I already understand and comprehend, just in the first 2 weeks, why people are getting the results that they're getting by being in a program like this. And again, I'm not just pointing out Roots. I'm just pointing out my experience in working with people and getting them out of the common thinking of being in debt and putting them into an environment that's like, no, we're not going to think that way in here. We're going to get you out of debt, right? And it's amazing just the transformation that can happen in such a little time as like 2 weeks. Right. So you gotta think that way. Like old doors are not going to open up like new ways and new opportunities for you in your life. You have to open up new doors. All right. You can't get out of debt with that same type of thinking. And I think if there was one point that we had to drive home in this whole thing today is this. It is so crazy to me how many people will look back and say, I can't get out of debt like those people because. And the reason why they're thinking that is because they're using the same thinking that's not only created the debt that they have, but it's keeping them stuck in the debt that they have. And of course, they can't comprehend how can someone in just a matter of a few months or a year save and pay off that much debt? Like, that's impossible. Well, it's impossible with your thinking. It's not impossible once you get out of that thinking. And you really need to break that. This is super important.
Well, and the behavior changes, just the small daily behavior changes that you start to do when you surround yourself with these people who are doing the same thing and have that same mindset are incredible.
And I just looked this up while you were talking because you're talking about mindset and how, just kind of overcoming that mindset that it can't be done. And it's just, I'm always reminded of, and I don't know if you're familiar with running, but Roger Bannister.
Wait.
In 19...
you think I'm familiar with? I'm an asthmatic. I'm not familiar with running at all.
I was talking to our listeners. I'm not a fan of running. I do it, but I don't do it like the person I'm going to be talking about. How about that? But no, I mean, Roger Bannister became the first man to break the 4-minute mile, and it was like one of those things that people said it couldn't be done. Like it's impossible. And it's like, after he broke the 4-minute mile, person after person after person has done it. So it's just one of those things where it's just your mind is blocked that it can't be done. And when you see, and you could be the person in your family that does it and provide that same inspiration for your family to see that it's possible. And I think that's just, for me, that's huge. I mean, it is 100% stuck in your mind that you can't do it, but you can. And it's proven. People do it all the time. Everybody says you can't do something, and then someone goes and does it. It happens every day in this world.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that brings us to the last point of what I believe is the fastest way to do it is to take advantage of somebody else's experiences. Someone who's already done what you want to do. And I believe that's probably why you're listening to this podcast, because you want to get out of debt. You want to improve your financial life. You're listening to three of us who have done it. Think about the Maps app, right? And, a lot of us, I love the Maps app. It's probably one of my favorite apps on my phone. I'm sure it is for a lot of you that are listening to this. Like, if you got to go to a destination, what do a lot of us do? Even if there are times where I even open the Maps app and I even know where I'm going, I still want to see, like, is there traffic? Is there road construction? Do I need to take a different way, right? But if you open up the Maps app, like, the reason why we do that is, number one, we want the fastest way to get there. We want to know if there's going to be construction. We want to know if there's going to be any traffic that we need to avoid, because we want to get there the fastest way. And the fastest way to do that is to get into a program. And again, we're not just promoting routes, but finding programs that can help you achieve your goals faster. No matter if it's your finances, if you want to get better at leadership, if you want to get better at your job, if you want to get better at anything, some of the fastest ways to do that is to get yourself surrounded by a bunch of like-minded people who want to improve those areas of their lives as well. And that's why people join Roots. They want to get results faster than they've been getting on their own. They want a proven system to follow that's going to make it easier. No more second guessing. Like, if you look, and the last time I looked this up, it might have changed, but the last time I looked this up in Google, how to get out of debt, there was over 2.2, I think, 2.1 or 2.2 billion search results. That's unbelievable. Like, why go through the pain of trying to sift through all of that information when it's all done for you? You just show up, you learn, and you're done, right? And then lastly, people just want support and accountability, because, again, doing this on your own is hard. It's like we talked about with motivation. Motivation doesn't last. It's like Ryan said, in his moment of crisis, he had that motivation to eat healthy. But as soon as it was gone, right, that motivation may not be there just as much. But when you join a program that's meant to help hold you accountable and support you, and when you make a commitment, it is like upping that level of commitment to yourself. When you're willing to invest in this, when you're willing to invest in yourself, that is why so many people take this so much more seriously than, say, doing it on their own and that they just want to get out of debt. And we see it all the time. And I think this by far is probably the fastest way to do it. Yes, you can do it on your own, but the fastest way is to get help and get yourself surrounded by the right people.
Hey, what's this I see? I thought this was a party! Let's dance!
All right. That sound means it's time for the celebrations of the show. And today we are kicking it off with Max Wilder. They say, I budgeted for going out with friends this weekend and meal prepped my lunches for the week to help me stick to my goal of eating out only once a week. Man, Max, that's fantastic. Great job.
Tammy Yankee returned a mattress I purchased for my son and put the entire refund of $322.10 into savings. Haven't eaten out all week. Organized some items to sell this weekend.
Awesome. Way to go, Tammy.
Heather Marie started filling in numbers to create next month's budget.
Awesome. Shantina Holiday had emergency dental procedure done yesterday and paid $710 in cash, mind you. No credit card. Awesome win, Shantina. Great job.
Heather Whitworth, haven't used my credit card this week.
Awesome. Great behavior change.
Yvette Frazier joined Roots, paid off my smallest credit card balance of $255.17, paid another $189.29 over minimum payments towards other credit cards, put $150 into savings, and working on a budget.
That is amazing. And at the time of this celebration, she is only a few weeks into the program. She's already making those kinds of results. That is amazing. So congratulations to Yvette, and congratulations to all of you guys who are working your way out of debt. And remember, to get all the resources, show notes, and links for today's show, head over to balancesense.com/123. And thanks for hanging out with us here today. We love your feedback, and it also helps us grow our podcast. So please leave us an honest review. We read every single one of those. And as you guys know, the Debt Free Dad podcast is here to help you live a happier and stress-free financial lives. So if you know someone who could benefit from the show, hey, we would appreciate a share. We appreciate you, and we will see you guys on an upcoming episode. Take care.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us here today. We love your feedback, and it also helps us grow our YouTube show. So please give us a like or leave us some honest feedback on this video. And if you want the latest from the show, obviously be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And for the latest resources, or if you want more information on how to kick debt and financial stress, please be sure to check out the links in this video or head over to therealdebtfreedad.com. We'll see you guys on an upcoming show. Take care.